In the late 1960s, someone was hunting people across Northern California. He called himself the Zodiac. He sent letters to newspapers, taunting police, boasting about his kills, and threatening to murder dozens more. And then, he just stopped. No arrest, no confession, no name. For over 50 years, the Zodiac Killer has remained one of the most haunting, unsolved cases in American history. But in the last decade, cold case investigators, armed with new DNA technology, declassified files, and modern forensic tools, have been quietly closing in. What they found will change everything you thought you knew about this case. To understand where this investigation stands today, we need to go back to where it all began. Northern California, 1968. On the night of December 20th, two teenagers, David Faraday, 17, and Betty Lou Jensen, 16, were parked on a rural road in Benicia, California. They were on their first date. They never made it home. Both were shot dead. No motive, no witnesses, no suspects. 6 months later, on July 4th, 1969, Independence Day, the killer struck again. Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau were parked near Blue Rock Springs Park in Vallejo, California. A man pulled up beside them, walked to the car, and opened fire. Darlene was killed. Michael survived, barely. And then came the letters. On August 1st, 1969, 3 San Francisco Bay Area newspapers, the San Francisco Chronicle, the San Francisco Examiner, and the Vallejo Times-Herald, each received an identical letter. Inside, a detailed account of the murders, information only the killer could know, and a coded cipher, 408 symbols, that the writer claimed contained his identity. He demanded the newspapers publish the ciphers on their front pages. If they didn't, he wrote, he would go on a killing rampage. He signed it, the Zodiac. The Bay Area had never seen anything like it. Over the next 2 years, the Zodiac claimed at least 5 confirmed murders and 2 additional survivors. September 27, 1969, Lake Berryessa, Napa County. Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard were picnicking on the shore when a masked man approached them. He was wearing a black hood with a white crosshair symbol stitched on the front, a costume he had made specifically for this attack. He tied them up, then stabbed them repeatedly. Cecilia died 2 days later. Brian survived. Before leaving, the Zodiac wrote the dates of all his attacks on the door of Brian's car in black marker, and then calmly walked away. October 11th, 1969. San Francisco. Cab driver Paul Stein was shot in the head while carrying a passenger in the Presidio Heights neighborhood. The Zodiac then cut a piece of Stein's shirt and mailed it to the newspaper as proof. 3 witnesses, teenagers looking out a window, saw the killer walking away. They described a white male, heavyset, with brown hair, wearing glasses. And then came the most chilling letter of all. November 9th, 1969. The San Francisco Chronicle received a letter that contained a piece of Paul Stein's bloody shirt. And this message, "I am now in control of all things." He claimed to have already killed 37 people. Investigators could only confirm 5. The letters kept coming through 1969, 1970, and into 1971. Growing stranger, more erratic, and then, around 1974, they stopped entirely. The Zodiac was never caught. For decades, the Zodiac case went cold, buried under unsolved paperwork, passed between investigators, and mythologized in films and books, but it was never closed. The San Francisco Police Department and the Vallejo Police Department both retained their case files. Thousands of pages, physical evidence, letters handled by the killer himself. In the 1980s and 90s, as forensic science advanced, investigators attempted new analyses of the letters, handwriting analysts, ink dating, early DNA testing. None of it produced a match. Over the years, more than 2,500 suspects were named by investigators and amateur sleuths. All were eventually eliminated or died before they could be conclusively cleared. Then something shifted. In 2018, advances in genealogical DNA, the same technology that caught the Golden State Killer, gave investigators a new tool. The question was, had the Zodiac left enough DNA on his letters? In 2021, a cold case investigative team called the Case Breakers, a group of over 40 former law enforcement officials, journalists, and military investigators, made a stunning announcement. They named a suspect, Gary Francis Post, a house painter from California who died in 2018. Their evidence? Forensic analysis of crime scene photos, scars on Post's forehead that they claimed matched composite sketches, anagrams in the Zodiac's cipher letters that, when decoded, allegedly spelled out Post's full name. Law enforcement did not officially endorse this conclusion, but the announcement sent shockwaves through the true crime community and reignited the cold case investigation. Separately, in 2020, a team of codebreakers, an American mathematician, an Australian software engineer, and a Belgian programmer finally cracked the Zodiac's most famous cipher, the 340-character code that had stumped investigators for 51 years. The decoded message read, in part, "I hope you are having lots of fun in trying to catch me. I am not afraid of the gas chamber because it will send me to paradise all the sooner because I now have enough slaves to work for me." No name, no location. But the crack proved that the ciphers were solvable, and that more may still hold secrets. In 2021, the FBI's San Francisco field office announced it had obtained DNA from the Zodiac's letters, a significant development. Officials confirmed they were using genetic genealogy technology to search for a match. The results have not yet been publicly disclosed. As of today, the case remains officially unsolved, open, active. So what does 50 years of investigation tell us? It tells us that the Zodiac was meticulous, careful. He understood forensics better than most people did at the time. He wore gloves, he varied his methods, and he chose locations where witnesses were scarce. It tells us that he craved attention more than he craved secrecy. The letters, the ciphers, the taunting, these weren't the actions of someone who wanted to disappear. They were the actions of someone who wanted to be remembered. And it tells us that despite everything, despite decades of the most sophisticated investigative tools ever developed, one person was able to kill, taunt, and vanish. The DNA is out there. The investigators are still working. Will the Zodiac finally be identified in our lifetime? I think we're closer than we've ever been. But I also think whoever he was counting on us to keep asking that question forever. Leave a comment below. Who do you think the Zodiac Killer was? And do you think he acted alone? If you want me to go deeper on the cipher codes, or cover the Golden State Killer case, which was solved using the same DNA technology, subscribe and let me know. This case is far from over.